Through the current recession, it has become apparent that the CEOs of large public corporations are not being affected in direct relation with economic trends. When our economy was on the rise, these CEOs reaped the benefits annually for their corporation's successes. For example, top executives' pay rose 10 times faster during 1990 to 2005 than the lowest paid employees of American corporations. However, when the recession took hold of the economy, the same CEOs continued to receive outrageous paychecks. As the bailout takes effect, taxpayers are beginning to increasingly worry that their hard-earned money is being used irresponsibly as we see more and more CEOs taking advantage of their situations. Protesters continue to rally as the entrusted become the distrusted and the rich become richer at the expense of the common good. As corporate crime convictions increase, they are overshadowed by the skyrocketing amounts of the federal bailout. Under the influence of President Obama and his newly appointed Secretary of the Treasury, Timothy Geithner, the total amount paid to American corporations has surpassed $800 billion. The number $800 billion doesn't even begin to explain the deficit of the bailout, however. Financial analysts at the media icon Bloomberg reported that the U.S. has spent over $4 trillion between President Bush's 2008 tax rebates and Obama's 2009 bailout package. Compared to former government spending, this bailout plan has already cost the American government more than the adjusted spending of the Marshall Plan, Louisiana Purchase, the Korean and Vietnam Wars, the New Deal, NASA's all-time budget, and the present-day war on terror combined. This is a direct result of the absence of the checks and balances set in place in the U.S. Constitution. After the stimulus legislation was passed, and as U.S. citizens became overburdened by unemployment and foreclosure rates, someone should have stepped in to begin drafting a better solution to our problems, whether it be Secretary Geithner or Mr. Bernanke in the Federal Reserve, the non-government agency that prints money and directly controls the inflation rate. Instead, we see top executives from corporations like AIG, who paid out 73 bonuses surpassing $1 million in the past year, stay rich as the economy suffers. I want to make it clear that I don't disagree that CEOs deserve to receive the highest salaries due to the responsibilities that their position entails. However, I firmly believe that current CEO compensation, for the most part, misrepresents the task performed by those receiving the absurd payouts. According to Businessweek magazine, in 2006, CEO pay had grown to 364 times that of the average blue-collar worker's pay. This is compared to only 42 times the pay 25 years earlier. This would only be justified if the adjusted profits of the companies participating in the survey increased exponentially. Furthermore, these executives who thrive as their corporations achieve monetary success would also be expected to take the biggest blow as their firms are engulfed by the recession, right? Wrong. For example, in 2005, the executives of Reader's Digest received a 31% pay increase despite the fact that their company's net income decreased by a staggering 284%. The most upsetting CEO payout occurred within a corporation who was in the center of the national spotlight, Lehman Brothers Holding Company. Richard Fuld Jr., who is currently a defendant in an ongoing securities fraud case with the SEC, was paid over $38 million at the end of 2007, while the SEC was already investigating him and the firm's stock had closed at 14 cents a share after a 52-week high exceeding $60. The reason that this bailout and the preceding information are upsetting to so many people who share my distaste for these increasing executive payouts deals with the fact that too many corporations are neglecting their stakeholders. As displayed in this diagram, so many factors go into making a public corporation successful, including employees, shareholders, and media support, to give so much credit monetarily to one person. Companies need to distribute the success more evenly, and if they refuse to, then the CEOs must suffer in the bad times, first and foremost. Andrew Carnegie, one of the most successful businessmen of all time and a devout humanitarian, agreed with this idea when he stated, "Individualism will continue, but the millionaire will be but a trustee for the poor, entrusted for a season with a great part of the increased wealth of the community, but administering it for the community far better than it could or would have done for itself." He goes on to say that the millionaires who die with all their money and a lack of social responsibility will pass away, quote, "unwept, unhonored, and unsung," end quote. This is extremely important because not only do top executives have legal obligations, but also social and ethical obligations to tend to.